Hey guys, I'm Josh Brown.
And I'm Jordan Stevens.
And you're watching the Cars and Health Bars podcast. Let's get right into the episode. Hey guys, welcome to the Cars and Health Bars podcast. Today we are joined by Jared Flatt, master technician at our local Ford dealership. Jared, how are you doing today?
All right, how are you?
Doing great. Of course, joined by co-host Jordan, of course. Jared, you kind of a long-time guest we've been getting requests from in our local scene that know of you and the SKR group. Of course, we'll get into that later on. But for the first half of the show here, I want to focus on your background and kind of the mechanic side of your profile. And I guess I want to start from the basics on what kind of got you into wanting to be an automotive technician.
Let's see. Mainly RC cars, actually.
Wow, really?
I don't even think I knew this.
I'd always loved playing with RC cars, and I was young, and I would probably say 7 or 8, and break them all the time, and I would end up fixing them myself, putting them back together, getting them running again, just tinkering with them. So.
Wow, that's most of the time it's like, dad was into cars, grandpa was. That's pretty neat to hear. Kind of that's off the beaten path a little bit there.
Yeah, nobody in my family was really into cars. I mean, my dad had a New Edge Mustang, and I guess that could have contributed to it as well because I loved that car. Of course, know what I know now, it's junk.
Yeah.
No offense to New Edge owners, but
yeah,
it was the shit back then.
Yeah, if you got a New Edge and you don't know it's one of the slowest out there, you're the problem. So I want to talk a little bit about your the process of becoming a master technician, because from what I understand, you are the most recent one to get through the master technician process at your local dealer or our local dealership. I want to know a little bit about that process, how long it took, some challenges, all that good stuff.
Well, it would have taken nearly as long if COVID didn't happen. I probably would have been senior master two years ago for sure. I'm not even senior master yet. I got one more class to go.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. Coming up on my 7th year at Ford. I think it'll be 9th or 10th year turning wrenches.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good bit. That's quite a career.
Yeah.
I will say you've got one of the coolest toolboxes in that group there. I would say like yours is up there. Like I love it. I've always loved your box.
Yeah, Vice comes in handy, don't it?
It does. I know probably got so much hate for that, but I'm like, y'all don't understand. The Vice that's an extra set of hands right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, Jared actually started at Firestone, right?
Yeah, Firestone, the one closest to the airport in Nashville.
Oh, I didn't know it was in Nashville. Yeah. I knew David was down there for a bit. So is that while you were going through school?
Yeah, wherever I was going to, Lincoln Tech, don't recommend. I had a part-time job at Firestone, which was across town at the Donaldson Firestone.
That was Jumbo Jared days too.
What's that? Actually, no. I was probably about this size.
Oh, okay.
Back then, I gained a lot of weight in 2020. So.
Was you still whipping the Impala, or what was you driving then?
Okay, so at that time in college, I had a 2004 Toyota Camry Solera, the 2-door Camry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was pretty fun. It had the 2.4 in it, but it was the engine that was known for pulling pulling the threads out of the block for the head bolts.
So it was like a North Star.
No. Yeah. So that happened to me. It blew a head gasket, and that's what led me to getting the Impala that I drove around for many years without power steering.
Pulling a hitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I threw a hitch on it. I think the biggest thing I ever towed with that thing, it was a 22-foot car trailer.
I remember that shit. I couldn't believe it, bro.
It was empty, but I pulled it from Bowling Green to Russellville. It was a 22-foot car trailer with a 2006 Chevy Impala.
Jeez, that's a testament right
that
there.
Poor trans, bro. That poor trans.
I dogged the hell out of that car. Had an exhaust leak from hell. Driving to Bowling Green one night, the whole entire exhaust fell off.
Nice.
Oh my God.
That's just free
awesome.
mods.
And then took it over to Mark Muffler and paid $300 to have a whole exhaust put on it. And then the day I got it back from Mark Muffler, I traded it in for the red Power Stroke I had.
Respect.
Yeah, I don't remember the red Power Stroke.
It was nice.
It was a 99 7.3 liter Power Stroke with manual transmission.
Okay.
Had 35-inch tires on it. Had stock 2018 wheels on it.
Pull the house down.
It was a good
yeah,
truck.
for sure. It could do a burnout idling. If I just held the brake and put it in low and just slowly let out the clutch, it would start doing a burnout and just idle like that.
That's awesome. So as far as your work goes, do you prefer to work on like the older cars or the newer models? Like I know there's a lot of debate on, a lot of the different sensors and modules,
Newer models for sure.
Really?
Yeah. I want to say my golden years for me is anything from 2011 to current.
That's a good range.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, especially like the older crowd, they're like, I can't stand these new cars. They got too many sensors. They got too much going on.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of victim to that too, because, whenever I found, Jordan started working at Ford and I started educating myself, I'm like, geez, you can have a cab off these things in like no time.
Yeah. I think my quickest cab off's 35 minutes.
Jeez.
Damn.
Yeah, I was actually telling my grandpa about you doing a bigger turbo on your Power Stroke, and he was like, yeah, I bet he took a lot of time to tear it down. I was like, you pulled a cab off that thing, you can get to everything.
Yeah, that made it real nice.
Yeah,
I did a bunch of other stuff too.
Fuel system.
I did a fuel system, the fast
mm-hmm.
lift pump, which requires you're supposed to drop the tank to install that because you're cutting new holes into the top of your sended unit, which since I pulled the cab, didn't have to. So,
yeah.
I mean, everything's right there. Makes it a whole lot easier to do. And I recently did my first turbo cab on with the 6.7, and I'll probably never do that again.
Not fun.
That was a mistake. It was not fun at all.
Oh, that's terrible. I think Isaac was working on, what was it, Jordan? It was like a rollback or something. Man, the room in that thing, because it had the hood that opened up the other way. God, dude, you can do anything you want to in there.
You know what's funny? Those trucks have the same cabs from a 99 Super Duty all the way up to 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
Service vehicles just be like that, though. It's like the Cat Eye Silverado. It's like, that's like
Chevy Express van. That thing ain't changed in years.
Yeah. I mean, if it ain't broke.
The steel body Super Duty went from 99 to 16, and every single part is interchangeable.
Yeah.
See, that's more manufacturers need to do that. It simplifies so much. It makes it to where Parts House can have more parts available. You ain't got to wait forever for a specific part for a specific model.
The only things that would change would be like the tailgate, maybe like the bed styling and the front fenders, bumper and headlights.
Yeah.
Everything else would literally unbolt and bolt up.
The guts are all the same.
I'm waiting 5 days for a window motor on a Ford EcoSport.
5 days.
Our service manager somehow pulled something off today. We have this traveling waiter that showed up for a diag. He has to get to Florida ASAP, and his crankcase vent is stopped.
Oh, was that one?
Yeah, and those are on back order for like 3 months.
Jeez.
I don't know if I can say his name, but
yeah,
he called a couple people, got a hold of a couple parts places, and we had one within 2 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I know whenever my VT went out, whenever I first bought my car, it was during COVID, and oh my God, I waited probably a good month or two for all the stuff to show up to do my DOD all over again whenever I first bought my car. That was a pain. COVID killed parts, man. Especially.
Man. COVID killed everything. The used car market during COVID was stupid.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, insane. I got the 7.3 mid, bad used car market. And I somehow made out pretty good. I paid $10,000 for that truck. So,
the one you have now?
No.
I
was going to say.
The 7.3.
Oh, I got you. I was like, oh, your truck must have had a rebuilt title, an ungodly amount of miles.
No. I mean, it's probably got ungodly amount of miles compared to some trucks.
I mean, it's a diesel, though.
Yeah. My current truck has 208,000 miles.
I mean, that ain't super bad, especially for a diesel. That ain't bad at all.
Yeah, but it's only a 13, so.
That ain't bad at all for 13.
No, not at all. Not for, like I said, especially not for a diesel.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, what's kind of your favorite, ticket to pick up at Ford? Because, back in the day, Jordan's, of course, was the door latches. What is the job that you can pull off the quickest that you're always snatching them tickets up?
Oh, man. Recall 19S01 2010, 2011 Fusions.
Really? That's still yours, Jared?
Bro,
That was one
I
of mine
freaking
too. I love
those.
that.
It's 2.8 hours
Yep.
to do. I can get the job completely done in 35 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh my
dude,
God.
that
Don't
is-
tell Ford that.
that
Don't let
is-
Ford hear that.
I love
They
it.
about they about change that to an hour paid job.
Not even. As soon as they hear 35 minutes, it's gonna be 6/10.
Oh my
Next time
God.
we pull one in. Oh,
You
but
just
yeah,
don't
that's my,
see them no more.
No, you don't. I did one recently. Actually, I was kind of surprised. And then Austin had one.
Yeah,
and
I
he was
remember
following the book on it.
No,
And I was like, man, don't follow the book. Just do this. And he was like, oh, hell, all right.
I remember my first time took me like 2-3 hours, and then after that it was cake.
Oh, man, it's so great. I think the fastest record in the shop is 22 minutes, but that's 2 people on it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
booking
cranking it out.
That's insane.
It's me and Tyler. Me and Tyler has that record.
You
And
and
then I
Must
Tom.
have
had
been
to-
while I was gone.
Yeah. Well, no, you were there. It was your
Oh,
first.
was I?
It was it was your first tour.
My first tour. I like that.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I
Uh,
love those. I want to say check engine lights. I love check engine lights.
That's fair.
They're usually pretty easy. Keyword,
Sometimes,
usually.
sometimes you
like-
get the haggler.
The past 2 weeks, I have just been getting crap check engine lights, and it's been taking me 2 or 3 hours to figure out. It's been
Yeah.
ticking me off.
That was me with that one today.
Yeah, the window.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta make sure.
What did you figure out on that?
So we had a EcoSport on the lot, so I just stole the switch out of it, tried it, didn't fix it. So I was like, well, I rules that out. So it's a rep motor.
And whoever put a motor on it already, too.
I
Right?
don't know who did. Apparently, he said someone else did, but it wasn't him.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Aftermarket part, maybe.
I know. I took a mirror and looked at it. It says Fomoco.
SPW.
So I've asked most of the Ford guys that have been on here, and I want to see what your opinion is. But out of the Ford's lineup, what is the vehicles that people should most watch out for as far as Ford goes?
Like
What I was working on
Bad?
today.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
like bad
like it's going to be in the shop and it's going to be expensive often.
Transit.
Yeah.
Hands down. Transit has the most expensive maintenance to keep
Really?
up
Brakes,
on.
bro.
Yes. Bro,
Yeah,
you gotta replace the brakes every 10,000 miles, if it seems like.
Jeez,
And
is it just
they're
because it's
not-
so heavy and it's
It's
just
so
like
big.
this?
It's so big, so heavy, and they have like the brakes. I think the brakes on a Fusion are larger than that thing.
Oh my God!
But yeah,
It's
the rotor really isn't a
insane.
big diameter. I
No,
never
it's
really
not.
paid attention, but yeah, it's not big.
And I mean,
And-
who's rolling around with a Transit with nothing in it? I mean, you buy it to transport
Oh
stuff.
man! And what's funny? Those rotors are a pain in the butt to get off.
Really?
They're not a typical rotor that you can just
Oh.
get off. It's got you have to pull the axle shafts out to get the rear rotors off, and then you have to pull the hub assembly out the front to get the front rotors off.
Jeez.
It's not easy, but it's great.
I like it. Yeah, I'm about to say it pays
we
good.
we crank them out. They pay good. Yeah,
That's fair.
but
I
Yeah.
think,
to watch out for. They got solid powertrains. I'll give them that. They
Yeah.
have solid powertrains.
aside from the drive shaft, maybe.
Well, they fixed that.
Yeah.
after a couple
Finally
drive
fixed
shaft
it.
recalls. Yeah.
Finally.
I think my car
And
is.
then of course the 10R. Just watch out for the 10R in general. But
I think I'm going to say any Focus with a DPS6 is something I would watch out for.
those are phasing out. I've noticed. Here's the thing about a Focus
had
with a
one.
DPS6. For listeners listening, if you own a Focus DPS6, if you drive that car like you stole it everywhere you go, you will not ever have to work on it.
Yep.
And I can assure you that.
Oh my God! Little Italian tune-up on them.
Don't be
Man.
in and out of the throttle at red lights
Yeah,
on that thing.
don't ease on the throttle. As soon as you take off, punch it. It's
All right.
It makes it easier on the clutch somehow, and you don't have to replace the clutch nowhere near as often. It's because they're a automatically controlled manual transmission, so
Okay.
it has a dual clutch, a dry dual clutch in it, and they'll start chattering and slipping, and of course you also have transmission control module issues with
Out the
that,
ass.
but that's a whole different story. You can't do nothing about that, no matter how you drive it.
Really, any Ford transmission, I'm not the biggest fan of unless it's like a 6R 140, 6R 100.
Hey guys, can you give me a minute? I gotta let my dog out.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we were talking about the Ford economy vehicles, and Jordan said, of course, they're garbage.
Any Fusion with a 1.5.
Yeah, that's what Jordan always says.
Yep.
1.5 Ford economy. So I want to circle back a little bit to your what your deal is with the 10R80. What issues do you see out of them? We talked to Isaac a little bit about it, but I want to hear what your take is on the 10R80.
Well, I don't deal with them very often because I'm like, oh, transmission concern, can go to one of the transmission techs.
Yeah.
But the rare occasion where I do get a transmission issue, I usually get one out of warranty. That way I could just smack a unit in it.
Yeah.
That'll fix it. It comes with 3-year warranty, all that good stuff. The main issue I see is either they have a P700 code, PO700, which is a incorrect gear ratio for that gear, which it means the gear's slipping, or they have a really harsh shift, or they just don't shift like they're supposed to. So the harsh shift and not shifting like they're supposed to is usually the CDF drum.
That's a normal operation.
Yeah, Ford has fixed it with the new transmissions. I haven't seen too many of the new transmissions have the same issues as like the first renditions of the 10R80, but we're still seeing planetary issues out of the 10R140. So there's that, but I'm not the really transmission tech. I don't really know a lot about the 10R. I just know 10R equals not good.
I want to like it is the thing with me.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can get one that's built, running good, can hold some power, they're great transmissions.
It just goes to show these guys with these 5.0, especially the guys that the 5.0 RCSB trucks, that first thing they do after they put a Whipple on there is send that to Midnight Performance, have them build the 10R80. I mean, they don't even try. They're just like, nope.
Yep.
Not even going to try that.
Well, we had one that didn't even make it to that step in the shop. That one, the Lightning Bolt, it done had an engine put in it like, 5,000-6,000 miles, wasn't it?
Really?
Yeah, Tyler
I remember that. Yeah.
That was crazy.
What happened to it? I don't remember.
It got a motor, but I don't know after that.
Okay.
I don't know what caused it either. I know it had oil and it just had a window in the, side of the block.
Could have just been a manufacturer defect or something stupid.
Yeah, probably at that mileage. Probably.
Yeah.
Just a
That's the only one
issue.
we've seen that did that.
Yeah.
So
unless that guy was just being crazy.
Unless he was just doing like all-wheel drive burnouts before break-in was over.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of the kind of personal stories you might have there at the dealership. I want to know, what are some of like the weirdest or funniest things you've seen wrong with a customer's car?
That's a tough one because I don't remember what I had for lunch. So
That's fair.
Let's see.
I remember Jared was working on one this one time, and it had a dude, like, how there's like Playboy was Playgirl is a dude's like magazine with dudes. And we never told Jared, but Travis wrote his number down in it.
And my God.
Called me with a smiley face. I don't know if they ever. It's in a company truck. Like some company F-250 or something.
I remember that magazine.
Yeah.
I didn't know y'all wrote my
It was on my first tour. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, they never called me.
Hey man, he was looking for a good time.
That's funny.
Jeez. Well, you might not have remembered that, but do you remember any, a lot of these people try to DIY Chris fix their own stuff and they end up just messing it up worse and they send it to you guys.
Oh yeah.
You got any horror stories on DIY mechanic?
Well,
okay.
I have one that actually backed out before he did it himself. So this one guy brought in a 1.6 Escape, had a water pump leaking, quoted him a water pump, said it was going to take about 8 hours to replace a water pump. He looked at me like I was stupid. He's like, I'll just replace it myself. I was like, all right, buddy, you have fun with that. And then he comes back the next day. He got apologizing, saying, I'm sorry. Y'all go ahead and do it. I'll pay for it. I'm like, oh, you looked up how to do it and what all entailed, huh? He goes, yep, I'm sorry. We'll just leave it at that. I was like, all right, we'll do it.
That's fair.
At least he didn't F around and find out.
Yeah, because you fucked the timing of your engine up.
Oh,
and
man.
You're going to really
It's so funny. Those engines do not have
timing marks or nothing like to go off of. Really.
Yeah, so as soon as you break that crank pulley bolt loose, that crank gear can spin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it can be
out of time.
Infinitely out of time. I mean, by like 1/10 of a degree. There's no.
Jeez.
You gotta add that.
Literally,
stopper
we have all these. Yeah, we have the stopper. We have all these holding tools that holds everything in place, and then you tighten everything down.
And pray.
And hope it starts.
Hope it doesn't bend the
Yeah.
valves when you try to start it.
My God.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to talk about one more thing on the, your professional side of things before we get into some other stuff. I want to see kind of what your opinion is on the shift towards electric vehicles such as the Mach-E, the Lightning. Are they like easier to work on compared to like traditional gas vehicles, or are you seeing that they're a little bit more difficult?
Easier to work on? Yes. Easier to diagnose? No.
Ford don't
So-
like you doing it.
Yeah. It's funny. There's certain codes. It's called instant codes.
Mhm.
We call them instant codes. If you pull this code and for some reason they didn't have like their over-the-air updates turned on to where Ford can monitor what code's set on the car. By the way, if you have that turned on, Ford can see as soon as a code sets instantly. Like
Oh, wow.
the vehicle is connected to Ford servers almost all the time. They know exactly when the code's set, what the code is, and everything. If for some reason they don't see this certain code set, and then we bring it in and we pull it up on our FDRS, we will get a phone call within 15 minutes of pulling CMDTCs
Jeez.
from a FSE to say, telling us, do not touch that car, step away from it, don't do anything to it.
Damn. All right.
What it is, it's whenever the contactors stick on the high voltage battery and cannot be released, and it sends out constant high voltage, even when it's not supposed to. That's one of those stop what you're doing codes. Don't do anything. And then somebody in a high voltage suit comes out and disconnects the battery and depowers and removes the battery and everything.
Jeez.
So that's something pretty neat, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they are actually really easy to work on. You can have a whole entire battery out within 30 minutes.
Jeez.
Yeah, like the massive battery.
Yeah. I seen Isaac had a battery dropped out of one time whenever I was visiting over there. I'm
Yeah.
like,
I think it's
dang,
that
that's it,
Mach-E.
huh? Yeah, I think it was a Mach-E. I was like, that's it, ain't it? And he's like, yep, that's
I've
all.
yet
That's,
to do
that's
that
all
on
battery.
any
right there.
EV.
F-150s are really easy. F-150s have 8 bolts that hold that battery in, and that's it.
Jeez.
Well, 9 if you count the 10 millimeter ground. But there's 8 main bolts that hold it in.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I want to kind of get into some of the personal stuff. I guess I kind of want to kick this half the show off by telling our viewers a little bit about what you drive, what you've done to it, all that good stuff. And I want to hear about the bike and the truck.
You don't want to hear about the Civic?
Oh, the Civic too, of course. Yeah, I keep forgetting that CJ sold it to you. I don't know why I keep thinking CJ's got it.
Well, we're going to start off with the Civic because, all right, I got this car for essentially $32. That's a funny story. We're going to do a little background. I acquired this 5-liter engine because one of our
Lord.
previous master technicians, I don't know if I should call him that, but
Yeah.
he was, anyways, I'm not going to get into that. He diagnosed this engine and said this 2018 F-150 needs a new engine. It's knocking. It's bottom end knock. I heard it pull in. I knew what it was instantly. Didn't say anything. I know that's probably bad on my part, but it was a company truck, so don't feel bad. And the company provided another truck that was totaled with a good engine and transmission. So don't feel bad about this. Everything was okay. Nobody was out of pocket, nothing other than labor. So as soon as he pulls this engine out and sets it out in the scrap pile and his butt comes off the forklift seat, my butt's going right on the forklift seat to grab this engine and throw it in the back of my truck. I take
Nice.
it home. I tear it apart. All it needs is a $32 rocker.
My God,
I put
no
a rocker
way.
in it. I put a rocker in it, and that's what it was. Literally, the roller rocker, the little bearing in it failed, and it was causing it to tick. It was just
Wow.
a tick. It was not a knock. I verified this by pulling all the bearings out of the bottom to inspect them, and they were perfect. So I put this engine kind of halfway back together. It needs all the one-time use stuff still, so it's like barely put together, just enough to trade CJ that motor for the Civic.
It's pretty good. It's a
So-
pretty good trade-off.
Yeah, I traded him that, and he also got a 10R80. I have a good 10R80 that just has a harsh shift into fifth. That's it. So it still pulls good. Doesn't chatter. Doesn't do anything terrible. It's still good transmission. I acquired that for free too.
Jeez. You and David was telling me about that crate engine he's getting. I'm like, David, I'm like, getting a free 350 crate engine. All right.
Yeah. So made that trade. The car needed a lot of work. All the motor mounts were shot. The clutch was fried. I mean, there was one bell housing bolt.
I forgot about that.
Jeez.
One. Okay, there was. It wasn't even a bell housing bolt. It was the starter bolt holding everything together. The other two bell
my
housing bolts
God.
were the threads were pulled out of them.
I can imagine that poor bolt's holding on for
So,
dear life.
Man, you would have to pump up the clutch for it to release once you fully pressed it down. So I get all that fixed. I cut new threads, put new bolts in, put a clutch in, motor mounts, whole nine.
Mhm.
I think I've got around, if you include the tent, I got about $1,500 in parts in this car.
Man, that ain't bad
And-
at all. And you're still under $5,000 on a Civic. I mean, that ain't bad at all. It's
Yeah.
a hatch too, ain't it?
Yeah, and it's studded now. I studded the head on it because I put new timing stuff on, and while I was in there, I studded the head, getting ready for a
Nice.
turbo setup. So
Oh, that'll be awesome.
it's a K20 A3. It's not the best K20, but
It's a
It's a
case.
Still a
K20.
K series.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what's it matter if the heads don't flow good if it's got boost?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Boost-
making all the right
boost
sounds.
in its own essence is lack of flow.
Bingo. So that's the Civic, and it's stick shift. It's a 2003 Civic Si EP3 hatch.
With-
Yeah,
Crispy.
and I dogged the hell out that car, boy.
That poor e-brake.
Jordan, were you right with me that one time
Yeah.
we pulled up to the stop sign? That cop was there. I locked
Oh, yeah.
all four of them up.
Oh my God.
I got the ABS module unplugged so it will lock up all four.
Oh
Just for
my
fun.
God.
Yeah,
That's
Did do
awesome.
That to my
Yeah.
S10.
that car's
Dude, it's so much fun just to have like a beater that you can just abuse. Like it's like Jordan's S10, my Dakota, your Civic. It's just like
it's,
if I bump into Jordan's S10, I just be like, "Hey, I got you."
Fuck.
it's so much fun. So you say you want to hear about the bikes too?
Yeah, I gotta hear about the
I'm gonna
KTM.
save the truck for last. You want to
Fair.
hear about the KTM? I have 3 bikes.
Jeez, I just thought you had the KTM. I didn't know
No.
you had others.
You
I got
Harley,
a-
Bubba.
I got a
I
Harley.
didn't know you had a Harley.
Yeah,
Jeez.
got a Harley. I got a 2023 Yamaha YZ450F dirt bike, Monster Edition. It's pretty dope.
Hell
too.
yeah. I haven't even
You
seen
can-
that.
Nice.
You can tune it from your phone.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's got a tuner. It's
So
a
the four
Yamaha
stroke-
tuner.
Yeah, I seen someone's bringing back a 2-stroke. I can't remember who.
Well, they've had 2-strokes around forever.
I know, but someone discontinued
wa-
them and they're bringing it back.
I want to say
saw.
Kawasaki.
It might have
Bringing back
been.
the 2-stroke. But Yamaha has kept their 2-strokes around, and KTM is just the top dog in 2-stroke game because they're the only ones that have fuel injected 2-strokes. So they have TPI and TBI, transfer port injection and throttle body injection.
Jeez. All
Throttle,
the fuel.
They say throttle body injection feels like the old school carburetor snap of the throttle, while TPI is more efficient. It's still got
Mhm.
plenty of power, but it's just more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. But
That bike, like just seeing it, that's pretty much the first time I've seen even like pictures of it was whenever we were doing the whole bike thing on the podcast. And
oh, yeah.
I was like zooming, I'm like, dang, that thing got Brembos on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
It's got
Yeah,
that
those
carbon
freaking rotors
too.
are $300 a piece in the front. It's got
God.
yeah, it's stupid.
Drilled and slotted. That golly,
Yeah.
it looks so good, dude. It looks
Yeah.
like your bike is like clean.
That's an old
like
picture too. It's
Really?
it's got carbon fiber on it now. I got OZ wheels for it.
that's sick. Yeah, I think your bike. I was telling Jordan, your bike and Jordan's bike was like the favorites out of that post.
I
Like
don't know
when
why
Jordan
mine
was like, yeah, Jordan's like, I don't even. You sure you want to post a picture of mine? I'm like, yeah.
Everybody loves the R6.
for real. I
Everybody
The
know.
loves
orange too. It looks so
Yeah,
cool. Like,
Especially the year. Like that year everyone
Yep.
loves.
Yep. So, all right. So, the Harley. It's just a stock 2007 Electric Glide Ultra Classic. Nothing special
Okay.
about it. It's got
It's been
60,000
mudding.
miles. Oh yeah, we did.
Mud.
We took it mudding for it to win dirtiest bike of the night at Bike Night. And
oh my god,
It didn't won it. It didn't win
It was muddy.
look like
It
a
was-
dirt bike.
It was worse. We actually
no.
we actually put the mud on by hand just so the mud wouldn't get up in the fins of the motor to keep it from overheating.
Jeez, that is wicked.
So there's that. And then the KTM Super Duke, everybody's favorite, my favorite as well. I love that bike. I track that bike. It's set up really, really, really good for the track. Of course, I have a track set of wheels, which is my OZ wheels. They're so much lighter than stock wheels. So stock wheels are cast aluminum, and these are machined aluminum.
How much does that bike weigh?
The bike weighs right now. Well, stock weight is 30-ish pounds, and the bike currently weighs 380.
Jeez, it's pretty good.
And most of it was exhaust. It has a full titanium exhaust on it.
Yeah, I saw that. That is sick.
And the carbon fiber didn't really lighten it up that much because the fairings were plastic and thin, so they were light before. But a lot of it was the wheels and the exhaust. The exhaust was a good chunk of it. The old exhaust is heavy as crap. It's got a catalytic converter on it and everything.
Jeez. Yeah, I bet it was pretty heavy.
That bike had a cat.
That's
so
crazy.
It had an upstream and downstream O2.
Yeah. It had 2 upstreams and 1 downstream.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
But yeah, I love that bike.
Yeah, all right, we got to hear about that Power Stroke.
All right.
I'd
the
rather be
famous
coming
Power
and
Stroke. Let's see. It's a 2013 6.7 Power Stroke steel body. It's got 22-inch American Forces on it. It's like the SS cut, Trax SS or something like that.
It don't matter. Homie's rolling on Forces. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
And they are polished. I see you going to town on them things on the weekend.
Yep. It has a crap load of lights. Funny story about the
like a
funny story
UFO.
about the lights. You know, have you seen? Y'all have seen the door handle lights, right?
Yeah.
I had them wired up to the tow mirror lights, so every time you turn on the turn signal, they blink orange in the door handles. The BCM was like, you know what? I'm tired of this, and quit sending power to the tow mirror lights, and they quit blinking. It was drawing too much amperage for it to blink through the BCM, so I just kept clearing the code. It gave me like 5 chances to fix it, or the BCM shuts off that driver permanently. And
oh my God!
The only way to fix it is to get a new BCM, and it finally shut it off permanently. I was like, "You asshole!" So I ended up just wiring around it. I bought some relays and wired it to the front lights, so they still blink, but the BCM checked out on that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's so many lights on it. It fries my BCM.
Dude, that time we were all eating at Rusty's there, and I think you're the last one to show up, and I swear it was like a UFO was coming down 1E. It was like, God dang, Jesus is coming back in a Power Stroke.
I remember he had that passenger side facing us, and those LED light bars under the door. He turned them on, and it was like looking
what's
at
funny?
the sun.
Those are the old light bars. I have new light bars on it since that day, and they're brighter.
Oh, Lord.
Jesus Christ.
It's
gonna look like I'm getting abducted whenever your truck rolls up.
It's funny. I can turn all the lights on and off all at once, and whenever I do that, it actually bogs the motor down from about 600 RPM to about 500, and then it'll bring it back up. So the alternator is struggling in that thing.
Oh my God, that is insane.
Yeah, to bog a diesel down at idle just from the alternator, you got some.
It said, "I need more fuel."
So. Boatload of lights. Got rotor lights. It's got 12 rock lights. It's got a front light bar, 2 pinch weld light bars on each side, 4 door handle lights, 2 C grill lights. Everything is switchback. It has 19 chicken lights in the lower valence. It has a
bed
light bar out back for the reverse light and for the brake light, turn signals. The bed has lights I can turn on in cab or outside in the bed. Has a little switch, and the bumper has 2 pods flush mounted in it. So, and it's also all my reverse lights are on a toggle, so I can turn them on anytime I want and not have to be in reverse. So if somebody's tailgating me at night, they're screwed, buddy. They are cooked.
Bad for people that roll up on you.
I know, right?
You know what's funny? I've only gotten in a road rage incident one time and got to use the lights on the 7.3. I had a similar setup on the 7.3. It wasn't as bright though. I haven't come across anybody wanting to smoke in the 6.7 yet, so.
God, just see somebody veering off the road because Jared done showed. It's like getting flashed by Men in Black. You didn't see nothing.
I can't run my fog lights anymore. They're too bright.
God.
I got aftermarket fog lights, and they are hardly ever on. They're so bright. Can't run.
Nice.
That's great.
That's what I'm talking
I know.
about.
I got some pretty bright dims in the Fitchin, and people all the time they'll flash their brights at me. I'm like, these ain't even my brights, Hoss. Gotta hit them with the high beams.
Yeah, I have my headlights turned down because everybody likes to flash all the time, and I have plenty of high beam. I'm not worried about high beam, so that's exterior mods. Let's think about the interior mods. I have a toggle switch wired up to my rear electronic locking diff because if I use it through the normal switch, it limits me to 25 mile an hour, and burnouts aren't fun at 25 mile an hour.
No, they're not.
So when I need both to lock up, I just click that button on, and my dash says check rear diff, and it has the little icon for the rear locking diff light lit up. And it's not supposed to be on, so that's why I was saying check rear diff. So it thinks there's something broken, but it's just me forcing it to be on, and it doesn't limit me to 25 mile an hour. I can do whatever I want with it.
That's awesome.
So I did that. I'm trying to think of some more things I've done. Oh, it's got this dope dash camera in it.
I say I need to know about that. That whole like rear view mirror that's like basically like I don't even know. It's got more technology my whole car's got.
The rear view camera or the rear view mirror is touchscreen. I can turn it off, and it's reflective enough to be a normal camera or normal rear view mirror. It has a camera attached to it on the front for a front facing dash cam, and then I have a camera mounted on the third brake light for a rear facing dash cam, and it can act as the mirror instead of running the actual mirror. Does that make sense?
Like a C8 Corvette.
Yeah. That's dope.
So
yeah, whenever I saw that, I'm like, geez, that's so cool. It has the, like you said, it's got the camera where you can like, if you're like hooking up like a gooseneck or whatever, you can see. Yeah.
Tilt it down and look at it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Then tilt it back up. So yeah, it's pretty neat. All
right.
Yeah,
talk about your trailer too, by the way. The trailer goes hand in hand with the truck,
yeah,
I feel like.
The trailer has a shit ton of lights too.
Oh my God. I didn't know about this.
The trailer has pod lights on it for reverse lights, and every time I turn on the toggle for the truck reverse lights, the trailer lights come on too.
Jesus Christ.
So it's got everything. The trailer is lit up bright too.
Oh my God. I love that.
Yeah. So there's that. All right, so now we're talking about engine mods. Let's see.
Welded crank gear.
It's got a welded crank gear because there's no keyway on these trucks, but the crank gear is pressed on. It's an interference fit crank gear. They are known for spinning once you start producing more power because the CP4 in the truck start creating more drag, and it will spin the crank gear slightly over time. Or if the CP4 locks up and has a disco party, it'll spin the crank gear and take out the motor with it.
Disco party.
Disco party. So I took the front cover off the truck, which is a task. You're supposed to pull the transmission, pull the upper oil pan, pull the two just to pull the front cover off the truck. But my truck has the very limited edition upper oil pan that has a groove cut in it for the gasket. People are trying to find those pans, and they're obsolete now. You can't get them unless they're used.
Huh.
So all the new upper oil pans don't have a groove cut in them. You just use silicone.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Gasket. So mine has an actual gasket. They only did it from 2011 to 2013 and a half. Huh. So my truck was the last year to get it. And people would buy them and install them on their brand new truck just to keep the gasket from blowing out, just to keep from having that massive job of resealing that upper oil pan, which you have to remove the transmission to do the upper oil pan.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
There's that. So I was able to pull the front cover off without pulling my upper oil pan because since I didn't have a RTV gasket, I had a normal gasket. I could just slide the front cover off the front of the engine and then slide it back on without messing up the gasket.
Nice.
So that's the cool part. I better watch what I say about that. Ford's going to cut labor time in half again. I'm releasing tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
I have a 38% over CP4 by RCD Performance, RCD Diesel, whatever you would call them.
Mm-hmm.
It's also known as the CPX. It's a 10.2 millimeter CP4, which is a stock CP4 is like 7.3, 7.4 millimeter. So it's
slightly overstock.
Yeah, it's about 38% upgrade. Injectors, I have 45% over injectors. I can't tell you exactly what the flow rate is on the injectors. It just, by the spec, whenever you buy them, it says stock 10% over, 20% over, 30% over, and 45 over. So it just kind of keeps going up in percentage like that.
Yeah.
So 45 over injectors, and then I have a 69 millimeter turbo BorgWarner SXE. It's a S300 series. It's not an S400 turbo. Everybody talks about getting an S400 turbo on their diesel truck, but it's not needed. This turbo is rated for 850 900 horsepower. S400 is going to be stupid amount of horsepower, which is at that point I need to completely build the truck. Right now, I kind of need to completely build the engine so I don't scatter it across the interstate. But I just run in a lower tune to keep it from doing that. These engines are good for about 700 horse. When you start knocking on 720, 725, that's when they start to break apart.
How much power would you say you're at right now?
It's hard to tell. I want to say I run around in tune 4 out of 5, which tune 5 is the hottest I can get. And
yeah.
I run around tune 4 all the time. I want to say that's probably about a solid 600, 650 maybe.
That's not bad. I mean,
it moves
a full-size truck too. I mean, and you're making a lot of torque on top of that.
Yeah, it's estimated 1,500 pound-foot of torque.
Yeah.
This is to the wheel. This isn't crank power.
Right,
so
right.
It just has a hard time putting it down. It spins.
Yeah, I mean trucks. That's the worst thing about trucks. They just don't. The weight distribution's horrible.
Yeah, other than 4-wheel drive, it hooks and books in 4-wheel drive.
I bet that T case don't like that either.
Hell no, I don't
end up like me, half a T case.
I don't do it very often. Of course, the truck used to actually launch harder from a dig in stock form. It would. I think the stock truck would out 60-foot the current truck for sure, because that turbo doesn't light.
I was going to say, you're dealing with some lag there?
Yeah, dealing with quite a bit of lag. Of course, we're going from a variable geometry turbo to a non-variable, non-VGT turbo. So there's that, and it's a larger turbo on top of that.
Yeah.
So it just takes a little bit more time to spool. I'm limited to 40 PSI of boost, but it's hit 53 a couple times on accident. Because the pressure sensor on the map sensor only reads to 40.1 psi. So anything after that, it's a waste because it doesn't add fuel to it. It just kind of leans out, which is leaning out on a diesel is not terrible.
Yeah,
it's not bad because literally the throttle body, there's no throttle body. It's just open all the time. How it regulates speed is giving fuel and taking fuel. So it's not a big deal, but it's just there's no gain after 40 psi for me currently.
I know you've never been one to back down from a race in the truck, especially now that you've got bigger turbo on it. Yeah. Where are some places that we can come check out your truck? Some of the listeners, especially local. Where's some meets that you're kind of planning on going to this year and having maybe one of your builds out?
Cars and Coffee. Of course, I didn't come to the one in February, but the Cars and Coffee.
Yeah,
I'll be there usually.
Maybe on the bike. If it's a track day.
Yeah.
If it's a really nice day, if it's a track day, a bike track day at NCM, I'll be on the bike. But if it's not a bike track day, it's a car track day, I'll probably be in the truck.
That's fair.
But I got a really nice race set up. I have this 30-foot enclosed car hauler that I use to haul the bikes around to events for track days, and it's got air conditioning. So that's
nice.
Yeah.
The car trailer does?
Yeah.
That's really nice.
It's really It's
really
nice.
Got cameras on the inside too.
Yeah, I got cameras on the inside so I can see if the bikes fall over while I'm traveling. Hit a hard bump, you never know if it falls over, so you gotta pull over to look.
Gotta check it.
I don't have to pull over. I can just look in the camera.
That's pretty dope. That's like some Cletus right there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm wanting to wrap the trailer. I got this. So my number is 83, and that's kind of it's a shout out to multiple. There's multiple meanings behind the number 83. First off, 8 and 3, both Dales, senior and junior.
Yeah,
and
fair
then
enough.
I thought about running 38, but that's Hayden Deegan, Danger Boy Deegan. I don't know if y'all know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
No,
one of the coolest dirt bike riders. He's a Yamaha 450 rider, or he might be in the 250 class still. So I couldn't run 38 because that's his number. So nobody really is running 83. So I was like, I'll run 83. So everything you see, whenever you see my track photos, you'll see number 83 on the front number plate of the Super Duke, and I have the dirt bike wrapped with my name on it, and it has 83 on it.
Oh, nice.
But the Super Duke gets a tape job because it's still a street bike, and I can't run a number plate all the time, so I put masking tape over the front headlight, tail light, and then I use masking tape to make the 8 and the 3. So
Nice. You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right.
I want to hit on one thing here. I want to talk a little bit. I ask all the members of SKR this question, and of course, it's obvious what you bring to the group, being the diesel guy. But what, other than that, do you kind of bring to the SKR group that kind of makes you you?
I don't really know.
He's Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
fair.
kind of let everybody do their thing and put in my input, maybe some dry humor,
He's
some dark humor.
he kind of reminds me of, like, everyone comes to Jared like Larry Madden used to go to Brady. Like, hey, Jared.
Hey, Brady. Oh my God.
Jared knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, every group's got to have their diesel guy. Kind of like you got your import guy, In a
Yeah.
group full of muscle cars, you need your truck guy.
Yeah. And
Especially
it's funny
diesel guy.
'cause I'm the diesel guy and the import guy.
Yeah.
The Civic.
True.
Yeah, the Civic.
Yeah.
Civic.
Anytime Caleb Kingery comes out, I guess,
He not
he has
SKR though, but yeah, he's
Oh
the
yeah,
import
that's
guy.
true. Yeah, he's chill import guy in the local scene.
Caleb
He's
is
about
chill.
Yeah, he's going to be coming to our meet in the
Oh, I'm sure
Genesis
he
because
is.
he's gonna be doing the drift event before.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You and Jordan need to ride with me." I'm like,
Oh,
"I
I
agree."
definitely will.
Oh yeah. Sounds like fun.
I
I
really
rode
wish he
with
would've
him that
drove
one
the-
day.
Yeah, dude, he will street rip. He does not shy away from that. I'm
He's
like,
getting
that's
on
the
it
one
when
guy.
I rode with him, bro.
He's the one guy I do not grab handles for because I know Caleb's got driver mod
Yeah.
hardcore. I trust Caleb. Like, it's like Baby Driver. I get in, I'm like, Caleb's got my life right now, and I'm all right with it. Jared, I guess we can wrap this up with where people can find you. Maybe a shout out for the SKR page and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, you don't really see me on SKR very much, but I do post some content sometimes. You can find me on Instagram. I forgot my handle. I think it's like that Carbon SDR.
Yeah, I think it
let
is.
me check real quick. Yeah, that Carbon _ SDR. So.
Well, Jared, it has been awesome having you on, man. And anytime you want to come back on, you just give us a shout. Our door is wide open.
All right. It's been fun on here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, with that being said, guys, we'll throw it to an outro and we'll catch you in the next one.